If you're in the blockchain dev space, you know zero knowledge is the GOAT right now. Everybody's talking about it, and there are numerous companies popping up with their different implementations. It has the privacy side, it has the scaling side, it has so many different variations. It's really hard to know what's actually going on. So I thought, why not let's just start from the basics. Understand this thing at the beginner level and slowly climb up the ladder. So if you think you want to do that along with me, please join me. Watch this video where I start with the basics. And one of them that I would like to start with is the list that Byte032 sent out. It's Hiccup ZK Journey, and it's like a Notion website with all the links that he found useful learning. So we're going through one of those and see where we end up with. So core beginner resources, the first one, I think we'll just start with this because it says start with this. All right, so I actually clicked on this already. Oops, sorry, this is the one. Let's see. This guy is a cryptographer and a professor, so I'm pretty sure he knows what he's talking about. And Matthew Green is here, so let's begin. One of the best things about modern cryptography is the beautiful terminology. You would start any number of punk bands or tumblers named after tumblers. Who uses tumblers? I don't know. Named after cryptography terms like hardcore predicate, trapdoor function, or impossible differential cryptanalysis. And of course, I haven't even mentioned that surpasses all the terms zero knowledge. Yes, that is true. I mean, look at this channel. All right. In fact, the term zero knowledge is so appealing. Yes, absolutely. That it leads to problem. Whoa, bro. Chill. Matthew, chill. People misuse it, assuming the zero knowledge must be synonymous with really secure. That is true. I've heard people, just throw money just because it's ZK. Hence, it gets tacked into all kinds of stuff like encryption systems and anonymity networks that really have nothing to do with true zero knowledge protocols. Alright, okay. This all serves to underscore a point. Zero knowledge proofs are one of the most powerful tools cryptographers have ever devised. That's cool. But unfortunately, they're also relatively poorly understood. Oh, that's true too. In this series of posts, I'm going to try to give a mostly non-mathematical description of what ZK proofs are and what makes them so special in this post. Okay, so yeah, this is exactly what we need to get started. Let's see how this goes. So to give you a context, I have a little bit of knowledge of zero knowledge, but not very descriptive. I would like someone like Matthew Green to explain it to me in simple words. All right, let's begin. The notion of zero knowledge was first proposed in 1980s by MIT researchers Shafiq Goldwasser, Sylvia Micali, and Charles Rakov. These researchers were working on problems related to interactive proof systems. Yeah, where you have a party called prover and the second party verifier to convince the verifier that some mathematical statement is true. All right, this makes sense. All right, but guys, focus on the names. Damn, those names are pure research level names. You name your son these names, they're gonna invent the next nuclear bomb. You can name an atom after this. Well, Rakov, Micali. Alright, anyway, whoa, bro, this name is so cool. Prior to Goldwasser, most work in this area focused the soundness of the proof system. What does that even mean? I actually don't know what that means. Let's see. In logic, or more precisely deductive. Okay, I mean, this is like a normal soundness meaning. What is it in context with mathematics? Okay, it's the property that any sentence that is provable in a deductive system is also true in all interpretations or structures of the semantic theory for the language upon which the theory is based. That makes a lot of sense. Honestly, I don't know. I need to research a little bit. All right, moving on. All right, soundness is a good thing. All right. That is, it considers the case. Oh, he actually explains it here. Oh my god. That is, it considers the case where a malicious prover attempts to trick a verifier into believing a false statement. Yeah, that is true, bro. Like, people trick you. People trick you in every phase of life. You gotta be prepared. What Goldwasser, Micali, and Rakov did was turn this problem on its head. Instead of worrying only about the prover, they asked what happens if you don't trust the verifier. The specific concern they raised was information leakage. Concretely, they asked how much extra information is the verifier going to learn during the course of the proof beyond the mere fact that the statement is true. Well, that's cool. So it's basically saying, if you know the millionth decimal of pi, okay, if someone says they know the millionth decimal of pi, you as a receiver of the information should not go like, oh, really? Let me calculate that all by myself and, check if you are right. Instead, it should be like, okay, now give me a proof and I'll verify it instantly instead of me calculating the entire thing. So that's basically the gist of zero knowledge here. All right. Okay, moving on. The specific concern, information leakage. Concretely, they asked how much information is the verifier going to learn during the course of this proof beyond the mere fact that the statement is true. Yeah, that's what you want. It is important to note that this is not simply of theoretical interest. There are real practical applications where this kind of thing matters. Okay, this is the real meat here. This is what we want to know. Imagine the real world client wishes to log into a web server using a password. All right, the standard real world approach to this problem involves storing a hashed version of the password on the server. That's true. The login can thus be viewed as a sort of proof that a given password hash is the output of a hash function on some password, and more to the point that the client actually knows the password. All right, that makes sense because, hashing is a one-way function. You hash something, you get an output, but you cannot really come back to the password after it's hashed. So it makes sense. It's a very general explanation for someone who doesn't understand hashing. All right. Most real systems implement this proof in the absolute worst what? Why? Bro, the entire internet works this way. What are you talking about? The client simply transmits the original password to the server, which recomputes the password hash and compares it to the stored value. The problem here is obvious. At the conclusion of the protocol, the server has learned my clear text. That is true. They know. Google knows. Facebook knows. Everybody knows. Modern password hygiene therefore involves a good deal of praying that servers aren't compromised. That is true. That is true. That's why you have to go to haveipon.com and make sure, go here, check if your database is leaked or not. All right, look at this. Look at these. He has a valid point. All right, going back. Yeah. All right. What goal was? Oh man, what a name. Mikhail Rakov. Dude, these are like top-notch researcher names. Just by the names, you can tell they're gonna, propose this amazing world-changing technology. Anyways, proposed was a new hope for conducting such proofs. If fully realized, zero-knowledge proofs would allow us to prove statements like the one above, while probably revealing no information beyond the single bit of information corresponding to that statement is true. All right, a real-world example. This is, come on. I want the meat. Show me the meat. So far, this discussion has been pretty abstract. Of course, yeah. To make things a bit more concrete, let's go ahead and give a real example of a slightly insane zero-knowledge protocol. For this purpose of this example, I'd like you to imagine that I'm a telecom magnate. What? Oh, okay. I thought this was a technical term. I'm like, what are you talking about? Okay, in the process of deploying a new cellular communications network, my network structure is represented by the graph below. Each vertex in this graph represents a cellular radio tower, and the connecting lines edges indicate locations where two cells overlap, meaning that the transmissions are likely to interfere with each other. All right, makes sense. This overlap is problematic. Whoa, why? Oh, because you have... Okay, since it means that signals from adjacent... Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Fortunately, my network design allows me to configure each tower to one of the 3 different frequency bands to avoid such interference. Alright, that's a lot of work, but okay. Thus, the challenge in deploying my network is to assign frequency bands to the towers such that no two overlapping share the same frequencies. But then you would have to talk to the towers, make sure they follow what you are following, blah blah. If we use colors to represent the frequency bands, we can quickly work out one solution of the problem. Alright, okay, no same color is connected to the same color. Alright, makes sense. Of course, many of you will notice that I'm describing here is simply an instance of the famous theory problem called the graph 3 coloring problem. I don't know that. What is this? Graph coloring is a special class. Huh. Vertex coloring. What is... Okay. What is the problem then? Chromatic polynomial. I have no idea what these... But hopefully after we're done with all these YouTube videos and learning these articles, I just want us collectively to understand these things, you know? That's the purpose of this YouTube channel. Just to go through the basics, learn what is there, what is not there, what is rubbish, what is real. I don't understand anything here, but that's exactly why I'm doing this. All right, yeah, I have no idea what's going on. I'll get that. I'll write it down somewhere so that I can make a video of it later on. All right. You might also know what makes this problem interesting is that for some graphs, it can be quite hard to find a solution or even to determine if a solution exists. In fact, graph 3 coloring, specifically the decision problem of whether a given graph supports a solution with 3 colors, is known to be a complexity class NP complete. I know something about NP, all right. I've seen some computer file videos. They talk about the NP problem and nobody knows if the NP problem is complete or not, something along those lines. I forget because it's been a long time. But yeah, okay. I still don't understand this. I want to dive deep. It goes without saying that the toy example above is easy to solve by hand. But what if it wasn't? For example, imagine that my cellular network was very complex, blah, blah, blah. Computing power at my disposal was not sufficient to find a solution. Outsource the problem to someone else with plenty of computing. Oh, this is exactly what I said when I was talking about the pi number. You don't have the things. You don't have pi. No, you don't have enough computing power to calculate the pi's millionth decimal, right? But you want to make sure that the other person is not lying to you. So how do you do that? That's the problem that he's also talking about. Yes. I might hire my friends at Google to solve it for me on spec. Yeah, sure. But this leads to a problem. Suppose that Google devotes a large percentage of the computing infrastructure to searching for a valid coloring for my graph. I'm certainly not going to pay them until I know they really have such a coloring. At the same time, Google isn't going to give me a copy of the solution until I've paid up. We'll wind up at the impossible. In real life, there's probably a common sense answer to this dilemma, one that involves lawyers and escrow accounts. Yeah, come on. Nobody's going to war for that. They just pay up. But this is not a blog about real life. It's a blog about cryptography. And if you've ever read a crypto paper, you'll understand the right way to solve this problem is to dream up an absolutely crazy technical solution. So what? Are you saying this is a good thing or a bad thing? Not a blog about real life. And if you ever read I never read a crypto. He's assuming when he wrote an article for beginners, he assumes that beginners read crypto papers. It doesn't make sense. What are you talking about? Okay, with hats. The engineers at Google consult with Micali. Damn, dude. Who in consultation with his colleagues? Whoa, come up again. These names, wow. Comes up with the following clever protocol, one so elegant that it doesn't even require any computers. All it requires is a large warehouse, lots of crayons, and plenty of paper. Oh yes, a whole bunch of hats. Is this a reference or what? Like, what do you mean? Hats. Never mind. Here's how it works. First, I will enter the warehouse, cover the floor with paper and draw a blank representation of my cellular network graph. Then I'll exit the warehouse. Google can now enter shuffle a collection of 3 crayons to pick a random assignment of the 3 agreed upon crayon colors. In with the solution, note that it doesn't matter which specific crayons they use, only that the coloring is valid. Yeah, sure. Before I leave the warehouse, Google covers up each of the vertices with a hat. When I come back, oh, okay. Obviously, this approach protects Google's secret coloring perfectly. But it doesn't help me at all. For all I know, Google might have filled the graph with a random invalid solution. They might not even have colored the graph at all. Yeah, how would you know? To address my valid concerns, Google now gives me an opportunity to challenge the solution to the graph coloring. I'm allowed to pick a single edge of this graph. That is one line between the two edges, and Google will then remove the two corresponding heads, revealing a small portion of the solution. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so wait, if you just do that for the rest of the network, does that, I mean, Google is revealing the solution, right? But now, you have to imagine there are millions of hats, all right? Millions. So you don't have the computation or the time to do all that, so you pick at random. Now, I'm assuming what he's going to say is the probability of you finding the wrong one with enough tries reduces. So that means, in essence, 99% of the time it is the correct solution. But let's see. Notice that there are two outcomes to my experiment. If the two revealed vertices are of the same color or aren't colored in at all, then I definitely know that the Google, look at me giving respect, that Google is lying to me. Clearly, I'm not going to pay Google a cent. Of course, dude. Google, dude. If the two If the two revealed vertices are different colors, then Google might not be lying to me. Hopefully the first proposition is obvious. The second one requires a bit more consideration. The problem is that even after our experiment, Google was still lying to me. After all, I only looked. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. If there are different edges on the graph, then Google could fill in invalid solution and still get away with the most of the time. Specifically, after one test, they could succeed in cheating me with probability up to... Oh, see, I told you that he's going to bring probability into the picture, and he did. E minus 1 by E. With a 1000 edge graph works out to 99% of the time. All right. Fortunately, Google has an answer to this. We'll just run the protocol again. We put down fresh paper with the new blank copy of the graph. Google now picks a new random shuffle of the three crayons. Now they fill in the graph with a valid solution, but using the new random ordering of the three colors. Wait, whoa, hold on. What is he talking about? We put down fresh papers with the new blank copy of the graph. Google now picks a new random shuffle of the three crayons. Next, they fill in the graph with a valid solution, but using the new random ordering of the three colors. What do you mean? As in, the colors are different? I mean, you mean to say that one, if it's red here, now with the shuffling of the colors, this can be a blue or a purple? And that this can be a red or a purple? Is that what you mean? Let's see. Let's see. I'm excited. I want to know what goes on after this. Blah, blah, blah. Fortunately, we don't have to stop at 2 challenges. In fact, oh, hold on. Where was I? The hats go back on. I come back in and repeat the challenge process, picking a new random edge. Once again, the logic above applies. Only this time, if all goes well, I should now be slightly more confident that Google is telling me the truth. That's because in order to cheat me, Google would have had to get lucky twice in a row. See, this is what I was talking about. See, it's just probability in the end. That can happen, but it happens with relatively lower probability. The chance that Google fools me twice in a row is E minus 1 by E into E minus 1, 9.8%. Exactly my point. I didn't read this article before. This is just my assumption. The 1000 edge example above. Fortunately, we don't have to stop at 2 challenges. In fact, we can keep trying this over and over again until I'm confident that Google is probably telling me the truth. All right, you just pick a random. So let's step back and talk about the pi example that I was giving. So if you had to calculate the millionth, no, in this case, this idea does not apply because for pi, So you would randomly pick up 500,000th decimal and be like, okay, Google, tell me what you have and what I have. And then you verify the number. And if they're right, the probability of them lying to you is wrong. So I think that's how it goes. But a little finicky about that. Let's see. Let's go on. Thanks to some neat JavaScript, you can go to... Whoa, we can try it ourselves? Dude, this is cool. This is cool. Bro, I wanted something interactive with zero knowledge learning. Bro, I've been trying to learn, but it's so theoretical. I just want something to be made online where I can, play around with it. And it gives me a sense of direction, if you know what I mean. 3 colorable graphs permit you to convince or verify the truth of a fact. Okay. Play the game as a I'm the verifier, right? So I'm not Google in this case. All right, graph 1. Boom. Okay. Okay. Oh. Wait, what? Green. Oh wait, blue and purple? Wait, this was... Whoa. I'm not understanding. So these colors change? Dark blue and light blue. Oh. Oh. Oh, it changed again. Huh. Okay, I'm not understanding this completely. What? Oh. Is it like that? Okay, I'm not getting it. Turbo. Whoa. Okay. All right. Fine. Cool. Dude, chill. Chill. All right. So the number of times you click, the more confidence you get because they're always the different color, right? They're never the same. All right, cool. Okay, in a way I understand what they're trying to say, but I have to dive deep. I'll probably make another video regarding it. Okay. Note that I'll never be perfectly certain that Google is being honest. There's always going to be a tiny probability that they're cheating. Yeah, that's what. But after a large number of iterations, E square, as it happens, I eventually raise my confidence to the point where Google can only cheat me with negligible probability, low enough for all practical purposes. It's not worth worrying about. And then I'll be able to safely hand Google my money. Okay, what you need to believe is that Google is also protected. Even if I try to learn something about the solution by keeping notes between protocol runs, it shouldn't matter. I'm foiled by Google's decision to randomize their color choices between each iteration. The limited information I obtained does me no good, and there's no way for me to link the data I learned between the... Yeah, that is the gist of ZK. This, whatever he says here, that is the meat. The meat. What makes it zero knowledge? I've claimed to you that this protocol leaks no information about Google's solution, but don't let me get away with this. The first rule of modern cryptography is never to trust people who claim such things without proof. All right. Goldwasser, wow. Macaulay, Rakoff proposed 3 following properties that that every zero knowledge protocol must satisfy. Stated informally, they are completeness, soundness, zero knowledgeness. Why is it here? I don't know. It's really called this. God knows. What's going on? All right. I don't learn anything else about Google's solution. Okay, if Google is telling the truth, then they will eventually convince me, at least with high probability. Google can only convince me if they're actually telling me the truth. We've already discussed the arguments for completeness. The protocol will eventually convince me with a negligible error probability, provided we run it enough times. Yeah, that's what I did in that application. Soundness is also pretty easy to show here. If Google ever tries to cheat me, I will detect the treasury. Dun dun dun. With overwhelming probability. The hard part here is the zero knowledgeness property. To do this, we need to conduct a very strange thought experiment. Ooh, thought experiments. I like it. Wait, hold on. Dude, this article It's not that long actually. Cool. Let's see. I'm excited. I don't know what thought experiment he's gonna talk about with time machines. What? What? I thought this was about zero knowledge. All right. First, let's start with the crazy hypothetical. Wait, what? Isn't hypothetical an adjective? It's a noun? Wait, what am I searching? It's an adjective. Why is he using it as a noun? Okay, anyway. Imagine with Google's engineers aren't quite as capable as people make them out. Dude, this guy does not like Google. Dude, he's calling him names. This guy does not like Google. Bro, chill. Alright, wait. A lot of Google cold insults out here. Imagine that Google's engineers aren't okay. They work on this problem for weeks and weeks, but they never manage to come up with a solution. With 12 hours to go until showtime, the Googlers get desperate. They decide to trick me into thinking they have coloring for the graph, even though they don't. The idea is to sneak into the Google X workshop and borrow Google's prototype time machine. Initially, the plan is to travel backwards a few years and use the extra working time to take another crack at solving the problem. Unfortunately, it turns out that like most Google prototypes, the time machine has some limitations. Most critically, it's only capable of going backwards in time 4.5 minutes. That's weird. What sort of a time machine only goes back 4.5 minutes? Useless. So using the time machine to manufacture more working time is out. But still, it turns out that even this very limited technology can still use to trick me. I don't really know what's going on here, but it seems... Yeah, that's exactly what I had in mind when I was reading this paragraph. Okay. The plan is diabolically simple. Since Google doesn't actually know a valid coloring for the graph, they'll simply color the paper with a bunch of random colors, then put the hats on. If by sheer luck I chance them on a pair of vertices that happen to be different colors, everyone will heave a sigh of relief and will continue with the protocol. So far, so good. Inevitably, though, I'm going to pull off a pair of hats and discover two vertices of the same color. In the normal protocol, Google will now be totally busted. And this is where the time machine comes in. Whenever Google finds themselves in this awkward situation, they simply fix it. That is designated. Google pulls a switch, rewinds time about 4 minutes, and the Google team recolors the graph with a completely new random solution. Now they let time roll forward and try again. This is actually cool, this idea. Like as soon as you're wrong, they go back, change the solution, and ask you to verify again. All right, cool. In effect, the time machine allows Google to repair any accidents that happen during their bogus. Bro, chill, chill. Okay, which makes the experiments look totally legitimate to me, since bad chance results will occur only 1/3 of the time. The expected runtime of the protocol from Google's perspective is only moderately greater than the time it takes to run the honest protocol. Makes sense, because the number of times you would take to actually trust Google, you might try 5 times and you'll be like, okay, cool, Google. But now if the 4th time that you pick up the hat and that's wrong, they'll just rewind back and change it, and the probability of you finding the wrong thing again on the 4th try is low. So the 4th try again, you'll get it right. 5th try, you'll again get it right, and then you'll trust Google again. So yeah, they're playing around the edges of probability. All right. It's only moderately greater than the time it takes to run the honest protocol. From my perspective, I don't even know what the extra time machine trips are happening. This last point is the most... Wait, what? I actually did not pay attention. From my perspective, I don't even know what the extra time machine trips are happening. I don't even know that the extra... Yeah, of course. You don't know. That they're not telling you. That's the point. Bro. This last point is the most important. In fact, from my perspective, being unaware that the time machine is in the picture, the resulting interaction is exactly the same as real thing. It's statistically identical. Yeah, that's what I said, right? I explained it. And yet it's worth pointing out again that in the time machine version, Google has absolutely no information about how to color the graph. What the hell is the point of this? Yeah, true. I don't know. What we've just shown is an example of a simulation. Note that the world where time runs only forward and nobody can trick me with a time machine, the hat-based protocol is correct and sound, meaning that after e squared rounds, I should be convinced, but with all but negligible probability that the graph really is colorable and the Google is putting valid inputs in the protocol. And what we've just shown is that if time doesn't run only forward, specifically if Google can rewind my view of time, they can fake value even if they have no information at all about the graph coloring. From my perspective, was the difference between the two protocol transcripts. Whenever we consider the statistical distribution of the two, there's no difference at all. Both convey exactly the same amount of useful information. Yeah, exactly my point. Yeah, makes sense. Believe it or not, this proves something very important. Specifically, assume I have some strategy that extracts useful information about Google's coloring after observing an execution of the honest protocol. Then my strategy should work equally well in the case where I'm being fooled with a time machine. The protocol runs are, from my perspective, statistically okay. Yeah, sure, you've told that like 4 times now. Thus, if the amount of information I can extract is identical in the real experiment and the time machine experiment, yet the amount of information Google puts into the time machine experiment is exactly 0, then this implies that even in the real world, the protocol must not leak any useful information. Thus, it remains only to show that the computer science have time machines. We do. It's a well-kept secret. Getting rid of the hats and time machines. Of course, we don't actually want to run a protocol with hats, even if Google probably doesn't have a literal time machine. To tie things together, we first need to bring our protocol into the digital world. That requires that we construct the digital equivalent of a hat, something that both hides the digital value while simultaneously binding or committing. Committing. This is a very common word in ZK. Commits, right? Committing schemes. Commits. So this is where he introduces it. Sneaky guy. The maker to it, so she can't change her mind after the fact. Oh, so putting the hat is called committing or binding, because you're basically saying, okay, we have the answer, but we're just covering it from you. All right. Fortunately, we have a perfect tool for this. It's called a digital commit. Oh, I know my ZK, bro. The commitment scheme allows only one party to commit to a given message while keeping it secret, and then later open the resulting commitment to reveal what's inside. They can be built out of various ingredients, including strong cryptographic hash functions. All right, I want to make a different video on commitment schemes and understand what they actually mean and do. But right now, let's just stick to this, okay? Given a commitment scheme, we now have all the ingredients we need to run the zero-knowledge protocol electronically. The prover first encodes its vertex coloring of a set of digital messages. For example, the number 0, 1, 2 then generates digital commitments to each one. Sure, that's the hat part. These commitments get sent over to the verifier. When the verifier challenges on an edge, the prover simply reveals that the opening values of the commitments corresponding to the two vertices, basically figuring out the colors. So we've managed to eliminate the hats, but how do we prove that this protocol is zero knowledge? Fortunately, now that we are in the digital world, we no longer need a real time machine to prove things about this protocol. A key trick to specify in our setting that the protocol is not going to be run between two people, but rather between two different computer programs. All right. Okay. What we can now prove is the following theorem. If you could ever come up with a computer program for the verifier, so basically instead of us specifically as a human picking up the hat, you have a program that picks up the hat for you at very high speeds. That is what he's referencing to. That extracts useful information after participating in the run of the protocol. Then it would be possible to use a time machine on the program in order to make it extract the same amount of useful information from a fake run of the protocol where the prover doesn't put any information to begin with. That's a mouthful. That is a mouthful. I have no idea what they said here. Yeah, then it would be possible to use a time machine on the program in order to make it extract the same amount of useful information from a fake run of the protocol. Okay, and since we're now talking about computer programs, it should be obvious that the remaining time isn't such an extraordinary feat at all if you rewind computer programs all the time. For example, consider using virtual machine software with a snapshot capability. Okay. I mean, I'm following you, but not very clearly. All right, you can go back in time. All right, even if you don't have a fancy virtual machine, any program can be rewound to an earlier state simply by starting the program over again from the beginning and feeding it exactly the same inputs, provided that the inputs include all random numbers are fixed. The program will always follow the same execution path. Thus, you can rewind a program just by running it. Yeah, of course. All right, okay. Ultimately, what we get is the following theorem. I think this is the main important point. This is the point where we have to actually focus. All right, let's focus, guys. Let's focus. If there exists any verified computer program that successfully extracts information by interactively running this protocol with some prover, then we can simply use the rewinding trick on the program to commit to a random solution. Right? Okay. Then trick the verifier by rewinding its execution whenever we can't answer its challenge correctly. The same logic holds as we gave above. If such a verifier succeeds in extracting information after running the real protocol, then it should be able to extract the same amount of information from the simulated rewinding based protocol. But since there is no information going into the simulated protocol, there's no information to extract. Thus, the information the verifier can extract must always be 0. Ooh, I feel wise already. I mean, this is like one of those Euclid's theorem. If you make a hole into a half, the whole does not remain whole anymore. I like those Euclid's theorems. They were the most obvious things you could actually think about, but those were like real theorems. Okay, so what does this all mean? So let's recap. We know that the protocol is complete and sound based on our analysis above. The soundness argument holds in any situation where we know that nobody's fiddling with time, that its verifier is running normally, and nobody's rewinding its execution. At the same time, the protocol is also zero knowledge. To prove this, we showed that any verifier program that succeeds in extracting information must also be able to extract information from a protocol run where rewinding is used and no information is available in the first place, which leads to an obvious contradiction and tells us that the protocol can't leak information in either solution or situation. There's an important benefit to all this, since it's trivial for anyone to fake protocol transcript. Even after Google proves to me that they have a solution, I can't replay a recording of the protocol transcript to prove anything to anyone else, say a judge. That's because the judge would have no guarantee that the video was recorded honestly, and I didn't simply edit the same way Google might have done using the time machine. This means that the protocol transcripts themselves contain no information. The protocol is only meaningful if I myself participated and I can be sure that it happened in real time. Bro, for a beginner article, this is a little complex. Not complex in the sense that it is complicated. It's just too meta. It's just too meta. I don't think this is a good starting article. Even for me, who has some zero knowledge, this is kind of a little stretch. If you feel the same, let me know. Let me know below. But yeah, it's a little stretch. I mean, nobody's gonna think about time travel and all that when they just want to know what zero knowledge means. I mean, it is necessary, but I would put this at level 2, not at level 1. Alright, let's go. Proofs for all of NP problem. If you made this far, I'm pretty sure you're ready for the big news, which is the 3 coloring cell phone networks isn't all that interesting of a problem, at least not in and of itself. Yeah, duh, it's boring as hell. The really interesting thing about 3 coloring problems is that it's in the NP complete, in the class NP complete. To put this informally, the wonderful thing about such problems that any other problem in the class NP can be translated into an instance of that problem. In a single stroke, this result, due to Goldreich, Micali, and Wigderson, proves that the efficient ZK proofs exist for a vast class of useful statements, many of which are way more interesting than assigning frequencies to cellular networks. You simply find a statement in NP that you wish to prove, such as our hash function example from above, then translate it into an instance of the 3 coloring problem. At that point, you simply run the digital version of the hat protocol. Yeah, in summary, and next time. Of course, actually running this protocol for interesting statements would be an insanely silly thing for anyone to do. Huh? Of course, actually running this protocol for interesting statements would be an insanely silly thing, since the cost of doing so would include the total size of the original statement and witness plus the reduction cost to convert it into a graph plus e squared protocol rounds you'll have to conduct in order to convince someone that proof is valid. Oh my gosh! If you look. If you want to look extremely smart, just say this sentence, alright? In fact, say this entire sentence in one go. People will go flat. They will accept anything that you say. After you say this, you can say the world is flat and they'll believe you. Bro, let me read that again. Of course, actually running this protocol for interesting statements would be an insanely silly thing for anyone to do, since the cost of doing so would include that the total size of the original statement and witness plus the reduction cost to convert it into a graph plus e squared protocol rounds you'd have to conduct in order to convince someone that the proof is valid. Theoretically, this is efficient, since the total cost of proof would be polynomial in input size, but in practice it would be anything but. So basically you're saying zero knowledge proofs are expensive, right? It's a very, very complicated way to say it's a fucking expensive way of proving things, alright? So what we've shown so far is that proofs are possible. It remains for us to actually find proofs that are practical enough for real world use. In the next post, I'll talk about some specifically efficient proofs that we blah blah blah. I'll also talk about why I dislike I don't know what SRP is. I'm sorry, guys. I really don't know what SRP is. Okay, alright. This article, I rated 6 out of 10. It's a 6 out of 10. It could be better. I had big expectations with Matthew Green. But also it was written like almost 10 years ago. It's actually written 10 years ago, bro. We've made so much progress in this field. And yeah, this is just the beginning. Alright, thanks for watching. I will catch you in the next one. We might go over the second part here and see where that leads us. And one day at a time, one article, one video at a time, we will be knowledgeable. Alright, until next time, bye bye, peace.